The Elite Eight starts this Saturday night, 6 o'clock Eastern's the first game. I've got both games, though, for you free here with analysis. Alabama, Duke, Texas Tech, Florida. Free plays coming up here right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV, breaking down the Elite Eight games for this Saturday night. Both are on TBS and True TV. And the first one is actually the West Regional in San Francisco. They're saving that Bama-Duke game for the late night game. It's a great matchup. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's look at the 6 o'clock Eastern game, Texas Tech and Florida. And Texas Tech, never in doubt, second biggest comeback in Sweet 16 history, down by 16. They were down by 13 with 4.5 minutes to go and then forced overtime. Momentum was on their side. Going into overtime, the line was 1.5 to 2. They won by exactly 2. Arkansas was a very public dog, though, so I do think the sportsbooks took a hit on that one with Arkansas still covering as the 5.5-point dog. And as is often the case, it came down to three-point shooting. Texas Tech was terrible from beyond the arc. They were 8 for 32 overall in the game. Meanwhile, Arkansas much better, 10 for 25. Yet Texas Tech pulled off the win. Their best overall player, Chance McMillan, remains questionable. He has not played in any of the 4 tournament games so far. We'll see if he goes or not on Saturday. I'm not expecting it. But you do kind of get a feeling that Texas Tech is up against it now against a really good Florida squad. Duke and Florida, both playing here on Saturday night. They're the two favorites to win the whole championship when the tournament began a couple weeks ago. Duke was 3-1. Florida was less than 4-1. As I've pointed out in some other videos, if you've blindly played the national champ the last 7 tournaments, the eventual champion has gone 32-9 against the spread, including some 6-0s and 5-1s. Over half of those teams were either 6-0 or 5-1. Most likely is going to be either Duke or Florida, in my opinion. So once again, you probably don't want to get in front of the Gators here. Line does look a little inflated. I think the odds makers did a good job here. They inflated both favorites for some of the reasons I'm mentioning. But once again, if you're going to play Texas Tech here, you better play them some on the money line. Just hoping they can stay within the 7 is a tall orders because normally the teams that win do cover. This line opened 6.5. There are some 7s starting to show out there, so obviously it's rising a bit. And Florida does look like the slightly public side in this one. A little bit of public consensus on Florida. Also some public consensus on the over, and that has also pushed the line with some sharp money, I think. It's gone from 155.5 up to 156.5. I even see some 157s out there now. So once again, a little bit of money on Florida and the over so far. I don't really disagree with either one, though. The pace of this game will be interesting. Texas Tech does play slow half-court basketball. Florida likes to play up-tempo. But once again, being the better team, likely having the lead in the game, and Texas Tech being fatigued, I think Florida is going to dictate the tempo and really look to push it against a Texas Tech team coming off overtime with just 1 day of rest and preparation. And on top of that, it was the late game on Thursday. Now they have to play the earlier game on Saturday. So it looks like a good spot for the Gators, even though the line might be a little bit inflated, and I would lean over as well. I will point out that both teams take a lot of shots from three-point range, and Texas Tech does have the better three-point defense, but Florida's better in transition, and overall I rate them as the stronger offensive team. These are also 2 excellent offensive rebounding teams. They both rank top 50 in the country, and they also rank top 50 in turnover percentage to the good on offense. So once again, that would help your over as well. And once again, we have seen Florida and the over get hit early, and Florida team total over would make some sense with that same line of thinking. Currently, the Florida team total is right around, last I checked, the Florida team total was about 80.5 to 81.5, so we'll say 81. Florida team total over 81 makes some sense for me in this one. And if you look at the Gators' recent games, they've had 81 points or more scored, I believe now, in 9 of their last 10 games going all the way back to the regular season. So once again, Florida team total over 81 I think makes some sense, especially since Texas Tech is going to be a little fatigued defensively after the overtime game. All right, that's your 6 o'clock Eastern game. The next game, that game, by the way, in San Francisco, as I mentioned, the next game is the East Finals, and this is the good one. Alabama-Duke, one of the best games we've seen all season. 8:49 Eastern is the approximate tip. Newark, New Jersey. Duke 11-0 straight up all time when playing in New Jersey during the NCAA tournament. They obviously get a huge crowd support edge on the East Coast. And is that factored into the line? Well, the line's a little higher than I thought it would be. A lot of raw power ratings out there probably have it around 4 to 5. Yet you look at this current line, the Duke Blue Devils are a good-sized favorite. Yet the public is on the dog here. Ding, ding. Red flag alert. Alabama looking like a little bit of a public dog in this game on Saturday night after that huge offensive output on Thursday. By the way, this line opened around 6.5, and it's up to 7 in some spots, identical to the Florida game. They both opened 6.5, and they're currently 6.5, 7, although I think Alabama looks like the public dog in this one, whereas the public was leaning more Florida in the other game. Duke, once again, pre-tournament favorite rather to win the whole thing. As I mentioned, the eventual NCAA champ has gone 32-9 the last 7 tournaments. I do think Duke is probably the team to beat still, so willing to lay a little bit of extra here with the Blue Devils. And also, it does look like a bit of a fade spot for Alabama after setting a record, but tying the second most threes ever in an NCAA tournament game with 25. They were 25 for 51 from three-point range against BYU. BYU dominated them down low. In fact, BYU was plus 34 points from two-point range. And now Alabama's taking on the Duke Blue Devils, who's one of the biggest, strongest front courts in the nation. Duke is top 5 in two-point percentage, and so is Alabama. So once again, should be a lot of points in this one. But you're going to pay a premium if you're going to play the over in this one. I always say the highest totals go over, and this one is currently 173.5 after being 174. Not necessarily looking to play the under, especially with Alabama being the fastest-paced team in the country, but I do have some pause with this over for a few reasons. First of all, got to expect Alabama probably regresses a bit after that monster outing, and Duke is more of a slow half-court team. In fact, Duke ranks outside the top 270 in tempo, where Alabama's the fastest. So if Duke is able to slow the game down a bit, we might not get as many points as expected. And once again, you're paying a premium. One of the reasons playing the highest totals over is a good long-term strategy is because normally the lines aren't high enough. But when you have two teams that just scored 100-plus points in their last game, that's not often the case in this one. So once again, a little bit of sharp money I do think is coming on the under here. Open 174, it's down to 173.5. Public looks like they're actually leaning over in this one. I think it's a tough call. Once again, maybe look at a team total. If Duke is going to get the win, they probably get there on the team total, as the winning team normally gets over the team total. And this one currently with the total side about 6.5, 7. Total 173.5. We got about a 91 for the Duke team total. Problem is, Duke does play slower half-court basketball. They've got 93 or more in 2 of their 3 tournament games here, but they were 78 or less in all 3 ACC tournament games the week prior. So once again, tough call here on the total, but I do like the Blue Devils to advance. I think Florida and Duke are 2 of the best teams in the country, and most likely they get the win. They're going to get the cover. So once again, if you like the dogs, you better sprinkle some on the money line. Don't just play these inflated lines hoping they can stay within the point spread. As far as the pace of that Duke game, once again, Bama, the fastest paced team in the country. Their possessions are almost always in the 70-plus range. And if you look at Duke, the fastest paced game they played this year was the 3rd game of the season back on November 12th, 75 possessions. And that's actually what Alabama averages per game this year, and that was against Kentucky, and Duke lost that game on a neutral court 77-72, so that is something that jumps out to you. Duke was only, by the way, 4 for 24 from three-point range. Horrendously bad shooting in that game, so that was part of the reason it was a little bit lower scoring and they lost. But once again, they did struggle in the fastest-paced game they played this season. As far as Bama, almost every one of their games were in the 70s. Duke's average possessions only about 66 this season. I don't think Alabama's played a game that slow all year. In fact, if you look at their 2 slowest games, they both came back in the first 4 games of the season as well, back in mid-November. They beat McNeese by only 8 in a slow game, 67 possessions, and they lost to Purdue by 9 in a 68-possession game. So you can make an argument both teams have not played well with the opponent's style of possessions and pace. So once again, Duke to the under, Alabama over is probably somewhat correlated as far as the side in total. It really is going to be who can dictate the tempo in this game and if those three-point shots are falling. Hey, 2 great games on Saturday. What are your thoughts? Comment below. I read the comments. I reply back. Thumbs up, like, comment below, and I will keep these videos coming for every game of the NCAA tournament like I've done so far this season. Also, when you do the thumbs up, like, and you comment below, don't forget, click subscribe and hit that bell as well for an instant alert so you know when these free play videos are posted each and every day. You can also get my personal best bets for Saturday: college basketball, NBA, Major League Baseball. My best bets each and every day are on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and you can get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. And yes, baseball is here. We did not have any best bets on Thursday or Friday, so you have not missed a best bet yet. So it's a great time to get the full year package and save big with the preseason special price that's still available. Or an even better option, in my opinion, is the All Sports All Access Pass with the instant $811 discount by using promo code SM365. Here's how it works. I average about 2 to 3 plays per day. I'm very selective. I've been doing this for 29 years as a full-time professional handicapper, and it's quite simple. If I have a best bet that I'm personally using, my clients get it as well. Doesn't matter if you're a 1-day, a 1-month, or a 1-year subscriber. Every client gets the exact same plays I'm using each day. By the way, they are recapped, win or lose. They are recapped every day on my page. You'll see the last 20 best bets are rolling recap daily. You can click on any of them to read the analysis afterwards. And last year, of course, nobody won more on best bets at WagerTalk than I did. My clients picked up over 133 units on all sports in 2024. We had already doubled our bankroll by the end of August. Let that sink in. It was an incredible baseball season last year, and I haven't released a play yet. Saturday, perhaps, this weekend, so you haven't missed anything. Great time to get on board. And if you do the all sports, you not only get the rest of the NCAA tournament all the way into March Madness next year, you're going to get the entire baseball season. You're also going to get the entire college and pro football seasons. And don't forget the NBA playoffs start next month. I honestly believe the NBA playoffs are probably the single best moneymaker during my 4-decade career. I started back in 1996, and I've won consistently in the NBA every year. In fact, number one all time in profit at WagerTalk, including number one last year in the NBA. It's a great time to get on board. It works out to about $1 a play. That is a true long-term consistent investment approach, but you got to use promo code SM365. Full details are on my page right now. Check it out, along with the daily free play. I talked about being selective, 2 to 3 best bets on average, which means that last cut, that one remaining opinion, my strongest remaining opinion, I put up for free for everybody. For those of you that are still building your bankroll, follow along on my page every day. Get that free play. Check out the promo codes. Get the strong best bets for Saturday and save big. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker, wt.buzz/SM. Follow me on social media as well, at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to WagerTalk TV because there's more free play videos coming up next.